What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another video. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Pumping out 3 videos a week right now, so we don't want you to miss out on any of those videos, so make sure you're subscribed and all that good stuff. Today we're going to look at the console of my boat. So I have 2 Lowrance units right here, but we're going to kind of dive into the mapping, and more specifically how to get the most out of your mapping on your Lowrance units. You know, there's a couple little things, a couple little tricks that nobody really talks about, kind of a pro's secret on the mapping side of things, and I'm going to walk you through all that to get your map looking the best possible, whether you're using Navionics chip or the base map on the Lowrance unit, a Cmap. There's a couple different things with both of those that you can get it really dialed in, and I'm going to kind of show you all that here today. So first up, if you guys are looking for anything electronics wise, Bass Fishing Electronics is the place to do it. They got everything you could need for a bass boat there, you know, whether you want a unit at the console, a unit at the bow, a live scope, Humminbird, Lowrance, Garmin, you name it. They got it in stock, ready to ship to you, and they're great people. That's the best part about it. You know, all of the companies sell the same product, but the customer service side of things is what really separates them, and that's what you get at Bass Fishing Electronics. Great people. They'll take care of you. They're not going to oversell you. So if you call and you reach out about something, they're not going to sell you something that you don't need. They're going to talk to you and get you the exact piece of equipment you need for your setup. So with that being said, let's fire up these units, jump up in the boat, and I'll show you how to dial in all your mapping. Okay, so here's your 2 main options for Lowrance units. You got your Navionics chip in this one, and then this one over here is the base Cmap. So I just went out to my home lake. This is right by the house here on Watts Bar, just really so you can kind of see the differences between the two. So we're gonna start over here with the Navionics side of things. This is, I believe, just a Navionics Plus chip. It's pretty standard. You know, you can download it and do some updates and kind of pick a section of the country you want to be in. But Navionics Plus card in here, and this is right out of the package. You know, it comes in. You know, you can see you got some decent contours here, but it's still not as good as it could be. So you go over here to menu, okay, and go down to more options. And this is where all the magic starts to happen. So you go to chart options. Well, here is where you would choose first up between your Cmap and your Navionics. That little button all the way down at the bottom is where you choose between your charts. But let's go to chart options. And here's where we're going to start changing things. So we're just going to kind of work our way down. So the shading, that doesn't do much on Navionics. You know, that doesn't allow you to do anything. It just kind of shades the land. So I like to leave the shading off. It makes the map a little bit cleaner. Safety depth is a big one that I like to use. So safety depth is really the only sort of shading that you can do on a Navionics map on a Lowrance unit. So basically that is set default to 60, but you can adjust it to 30, 18, or 6. And essentially what I use this for is the areas I'm looking for structure. So we'll zoom into this little point right here, for instance. So if I'm trying to fish a drop off that drops off around the 30-foot range, I can set this to 30 foot, and I know where that blue color changes to white is the 30-foot line. So you can just kind of see things. They're yelling at us because we're in the garage. And then you can shallow it up to 18 or even 6 feet, so you can kind of see. This one, for instance, you can see that that's a shallow point that sticks out there. So this is something I adjust constantly based on the fishery I'm on and based on the type of structure I'm looking for. If I'm looking for those shallow points like that, I can set this on 6 and just ride around the lake and look where that blue sticks out a little bit, and then know that's going to be a shallow point. So for this, we'll leave it set at 30 just because it kind of shows those contours a little better. Moving on down the line, you always want to have your community edits checked on, because essentially that is places that other anglers have marked a spot on the lake, and it kind of gives you a starting point if you're going to a new body of fish, new body of water. So you can see somebody actually marked that point that we were just talking about. Okay, let's go back in there. And the big one here is sonar chart. You always want to make sure this is checked on. A lot of people don't know about this sonar chart. You check that and it upgrades the contours to the highest definition. I don't know why there's two options. I don't know why the sonar chart isn't always on, but if you see, we can uncheck him and check him and the contours get much better, more defined. You can see these creek channels very well. And if you take the sonar chart off, you can see it's just not quite as detailed. So the sonar chart really amplifies the contours and dials them into 1 foot, I believe. So they're really, really detailed. Moving down the line, we got colored seabed areas. This is something if you're really trying to focus on those creek channels or riverbeds, you can turn this on. Typically I leave this off, but there is definitely certain times where I will turn it on and you can really see those river channels and creek channels where they meet and things like that. So that's something you can mess around with. Tides and currents, that doesn't really affect us here where we're at. And then the rest of this, you want to make sure, I always like this in US. It's just the color I'm used to. Really all it does is change the color as far as I'm concerned or as far as I know. And the other thing here with contours is you can turn off the contours over a depth. So if you look here in the main river channel, when I turn the contours off over 60 feet of water, it just kind of cleans up the graph a little bit, and you can do that down to 30 feet or 18 feet. But generally speaking, I don't really mess with that. I can clearly see that's the main river channel based on the contour line, so I don't need to blur them out just like that. So that right there, that's how I run my Navionics chip, and that is as dialed in as it can get on a Navionics chip right there. Now let's head over to the Cmap side of things. There's a couple things you can do here. So the Cmap is a pretty good map in itself, but there's a couple things you can do to clean it up. So again, we're going to go back here to chart options. I like to go to categories and I like to uncheck some of these things. It just kind of cleans up the map. You want to make sure you leave the high-res fishing bathymetry? What is that? I don't even know what that means, but that, I do know what it means. That is the, I don't know how to pronounce it. That is the contour lines. So it gets rid of all the other symbols and stuff on there, so it really cleans it up. Now, if you want to go back in there, you can add some things like navigational aid, things like that, where it leaves the buoy markers, and this is structures, so you can turn those things on. You just have to go in and play with it and see what you like the best. But that is under categories here. But the number one and most important thing to do with the Cmap is turn on the shading. So you see here, we turn on depth 1 for the shading, and that really brightens up the colors. That's where the Navionics kind of doesn't excel compared to the Cmap, is the customization of the colors. So we can zoom in on this same point here on both units, and now you can see the difference with the shading. So we'll turn the shading off. It looks pretty similar. You turn the shading on, and now you can clearly see that depth, that point sticks out a little bit further in that blue, and you get real defined channel swings and stuff. But in the shading, you go into custom, and now you can customize those color patterns. Now, I'm going to pull a quick one on you. We're going to switch. Whoops, let's go back here. I'm going to switch to this one because I already have my shading set up on this one. Because you have to go in and customize those options. So you go here to shading, depth 1, let's check him on, okay? And you can see I have my colors set up a little bit different than it comes standard. So if we go under custom, you can see here exactly how I have those set up. So 0 feet is red, 5 feet's orange, 10 feet's yellow, green, white, blue, etc. You can see how I have those set up just like that. And that's how I really like to run my map. It just pops, it looks great, and you can see those shallow areas, you can see those points stick out very well, and yeah, that's how I like to run my map right there. So hopefully you guys learned something from this video. Hopefully you can use it to help you guys catch some more bass out on the water, and make sure your units, your mapping is up to par. So appreciate you guys as always. leave all those likes and comments down below. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next time.